Okay, so we will be starting. This is Ahmad Zaheeruddin's book. Okay, it's a bit randomized. Petroleum geology, starting with petroleum geology. In Bombay offshore, limestone has acted as both cap rock and reservoir rock. Okay, the Bombay offshore is actually a doubly plunging anticline structure, and limestone is the reservoir rock as well as the cap rock. The porosity of commercial oil sand is usually in the range of 10 to 25 percentage. The porosity of commercial oil sand is usually in the range of 10 to 25 percentage. Commercial oil sand, so porosity means what? The pores, the gaps, the voids. Okay, so the voids of uh, commercial oil sand, the commercial sandstones, okay, that is 10 to 25 percentage is porosity. Okay, about half of the world's petroleum occurs in the carbonate reservoirs. The carbonate reservoirs are mostly famous, and the like Bombay offshore carbonate. So half of the world's petroleum occurs in the carbonate reservoir. Wherever there is limestone, there is this huge possibility of having a petroleum reserve. A type of interparticle porosity created by shattering effect of relatively large sedimentary particles which prevent infilling pores space beneath them by finer clastic particles is called shelter porosity. So porosity can be of different types, and there is the different pictures I'll show. A type of interparticle porosity, that means between two particles. Okay, interparticle porosity created by shattering effect of relatively large sedimentary particles which prevent infilling pores space beneath them by finer plastic particles is called shelter porosity. So let me just try to show the types of porosity and then shelter porosity. So this is shelter porosity. Here we have interparticle, then this is intraparticle. Okay, inside the particle the gaps, and this is interparticle within or like there are particles, and outside this is interparticle, and this is a particle, and then inside we have the porosity. Okay. Growth framework, shelter. This is shelter. You see this shelter. Okay, shelter meant what? Shelter meant a type of interparticle porosity created by shattering effect of relatively large sedimentary particles which prevent infilling pores space beneath them by finer plastic particle. By finer plastic particle. At the lower side there will be finer plastic particle. That is shelter porosity. A carbonate reservoir rock having 10 to 15 percentage porosity is said to have fair porosity. Fair porosity. Statistically, 87 percentage of oil and gas reserves come from Mesozoic and Tertiary rocks. Statistically, 87 percentage of oil and gas reserves comes from Mesozoic and Tertiary rocks. Paleozoic rocks contain approximately 50 percentage of the gas reservoirs. Okay, Paleozoic rocks contain approximately 50 percentage of the gas reservoirs. Which of the following rocks cannot act as a cap rock? Cap rock cannot act as a cap rock. Means these all can act as cap rock. So gypsum can act as cap rock, shale can act as cap rock, and hydrite can act as cap rock. Significant hydrocarbon generation begins at 150 degree Fahrenheit. Which of the following is a solid or semi-solid petroleum? That is gilsonite, asphalt, albertite, all of the above. Having a rock having high porosity, high permeability is most suitable for reservoir for petroleum. Which of the following forces does not play any role in the migration of oil? Capillarity, buoyancy, and gravity. None of the above. Okay. All of these play a role in migration. So capillarity is required, buoyancy is required, gravity is required. The oil producing area of Cambay Basin is confined to Eocene series. The oil producing zone of Bombay High is in the Miocene limestone. Which of the following petroleum deposits is not in Assam? Ankleshwar. Okay, Assam we have Naharkatia, Digboy, Mukum, but Ankleshwar is not in Assam. Where is Ankleshwar then? Ankleshwar, Digboy, we know that's the oldest oil field. Mukum, Naharkatia is also there. Ankleshwar, I think, is in west. So let's just see Ankleshwar is in Gujarat. See, Ankleshwar is in Gujarat. Kalol and Nogam petroleum deposits are in Gujarat. Okay, Kalol, Nogam, these are very famous petroleum deposits. So in Gujarat, Digboy oil field is associated with T-Pump series. This is a stratigraphic question. So T-Pump has Digboy oil field. Digboy oil field is located on asymmetrical anticlines and major thrust faults. Asymmetrical anticlines and major thrust faults. So Digboy oil field is located on both asymmetrical anticlines and major thrust faults. Which of the following theories is related with the origin of petroleum? Berthelot's alkaline carbide theory, Mendeleev's carbide theory, cosmic theory, Moissan's volcanic theory. All of them. Which of the following is the richest oil deposits in India? Bombay High. The oil deposits of Bombay High is estimated to be around 4 billion tons. Which of the following is the most stable of all the petroleum hydrocarbons? That is butane, C4H10. Natural gas, as it comes from the whale, is classified in the field as dry gas, lean gas, or wet gas according to the amount of natural gas liquid vapors it contains. Okay, so dry gas, lean gas, or wet gas according to the amount of natural gas liquid vapors it contains. A natural gas containing less than 0.1 gallon natural gas liquid vapors per 1000 cubic feet is referred as dry gas. The principal gaseous impurities in natural gas are all like nitrogen, carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, all of them are impurities in natural gas. Natural gas is what? The gaseous format of the petroleum. The traps that are formed chiefly as a result of folding and faulting are structural traps. Okay, folding and faulting are structural movements, diastrophic forces causing folding and faulting. Which of the following traps are associated with unconformities? Secondary stratigraphic traps. Okay. The transformation of a primary petroleum like organic material into petroleum begins with its deposition in the sediments in a reducing environment. The pipe through which oil or gas or both are brought from the reservoir to the surface is called whipstock. About 58% of petroleum is extracted from Cenozoic rocks. Oil shales contain solid hydrocarbon. What thickness of cover rock is generally thought necessary to generate petroleum and natural gas from organic material? 1500 meter. The maximum amount of oil and gas, about 60%, is found in sandstone. Average oil shales yield about 25 to 30 gallon of petroleum per ton of shale. Which type of petroleum trap was most easily discovered in the early days of petroleum exploration? Anticlines. The crude oil containing less than 1% sulfur and density below 0.85 is classified as paraffin crudes. Well-site geologists detect the oil in the mud by fluorescence under ultraviolet light. Well-site geologists detect the oil in the mud by fluorescence under ultraviolet light. Secondary migration of hydrocarbon takes place from reservoir to trap. Reservoir to trap is a secondary migration. Primary migration is source rock to reservoir rock. The red sandstone in the immediate vicinity of most active oil seepages acquires carbonate cement with excess contents of light isotope of carbon and heavy isotope of oxygen. The red sandstone in the immediate vicinity of most active oil seepages acquires carbonate cement with excess contents of light isotope of carbon and heavy isotope of oxygen. Light isotope of carbon and heavy isotope of oxygen. So red sandstone is the immediate vicinity of most active oil seepages that requires carbonate cement with excess contents, carbonate cement with excess contents of light isotope of carbon and heavy isotope of oxygen. Which of the following methods of recovery is applied for the recovery of high viscosity oil? Visible flooding. Permeability trap reservoir formed due to change in reservoir power and periphery of the reservoir is partly defined by edge water and partly by a barrier resulting from loss of permeability. About 90% of the stratigraphic oil traps are in USA. The anticlinal theory of trapment of oil and gas was put forward in 1861 by both E.V. Andrews and Terry Hunt. The anticlinal traps are classified as convex traps. Regarding oil production from oil pools, the MER stands for BD, maximum economic rate recovery and maximum efficient rate. Okay. Presence of porphyrins in some petroleums indicate that the temperature of such petroleums has never exceeded 200 degrees centigrade, and this suggests the origin of petroleum is a low temperature phenomenon. Some of the factors that may affect the interfacial tension between crude oil and reservoir waters in petroleum reservoir are given below. Choose the correct answers. Okay, so 1, 3 and 4 are correct. An increase in temperature decreases the interfacial tension, and increase in pressure decreases the interfacial, and increase in pressure and increase in temperature decreases the interfacial tension. A decrease in viscosity difference between oil and water decreases the interfacial tension. In which of the following sediments the capillary displacement pressure of water against oil is highest? Clay. The secondary recovery of oil is done by fire flooding, steam flooding, water flooding, all of the above. Bottom hole reservoir petroleum can be derived by which of the following? Drill stem test, shut in pressure measurements. Drill stem test, shut in pressure measurements. Miscellaneous model questions 1. A sedimentary facies is an accumulation of sediments that were deposited over a long time in a changing environment. What type of rocks makes up the greatest proportion of volume of the continental crust? Granite. The rate at which a population of radioactive atoms in a rock decays depends upon which isotopes are in the population. The common rock forming minerals are separated into groups called single chain, double chains, sheet, network silicates depending on the way groups of silicons and atoms oxygen atoms are arranged on their crystalline structures. Which of the following materials is most likely to be found in tephra humus? The B horizon in a residual soil profile is almost entirely cemented with calcium carbonate, producing an impermeable layer of caliche. Where has this soil formed? On arid land in Arizona or New Mexico. The process of gardening on the moon is caused by continual bombardment by meteorites. The three primary agents of chemical weathering are water, oxygen, and acids. Where would one expect boreal metamorphism to occur? Beneath a continental shelf or in a sedimentary basin. The factor that is responsible for the development of slaty cleavage in metamorphic rock is directed pressure. A fine-grained igneous rock contains some very large crystals of plagioclase. Which of the following statements is the correct interpretation of how the rock formed? Magma began to crystallize when it was still underground but did not finish until it erupted. How is radiocarbon, carbon-14, formed? Cosmic rays strike nitrogen atoms in the atmosphere. The word that one would use to describe materials in a fiery cloud is pyroclastic. A sodium atom gives up one electron, which is then added to a nearby chlorine atom. As a result, the atoms are held together by a force known as ionic bond. What is discontinuous about the discontinuous reaction series in which ferromagnesian minerals crystallize from a basaltic magma? As the magma cools, the minerals that have formed have different crystalline structures. Lava flows having distinctive below structure show that the lava erupted on seafloor. Why does finely powdered rock decompose more rapidly than an equal volume of solid rock? Powdered rock has more exposed surface area for weathering agents to attack. The process in which a heated material becomes buoyant and rises through its surrounding is called convection. The three radioactive elements that are responsible for most of the heat that is generated in the Earth's crust are uranium, thorium, and potassium. Magnitude of an earthquake means to report how much shaking took place. Seismic body waves may be either compressional or shear waves. Which one of the following conditions in the earth will generally lead to folding rather than faulting? High lithostatic pressure. Stress. There are two conflicting opinions about the theory of isostasy. One said that the mountainous regions are high because they are made of low density rocks. Other opinion said that it is because the crust is thick in mountainous region. A geosyncline is a great trough that gradually deepens as it fills. All of the deep earthquakes in the world are associated with ocean trenches. The Wilson cycle is a sequence of events in which supercontinents form and then break up again. Magma formation by pressure release happens most commonly at spreading centers. Earthquake waves change direction inside the earth primarily as a result of variations in density and elasticity. To determine the distance of an earthquake epicenter from a single seismography, geologists measure how much time passes between the arrival of the first P wave and the first S wave. The strike of an inclined surface is a compass direction perpendicular to the direction of tip. A penny off is a seismic feature that marks the location of subduction zone. The discovery of magnetic anomaly on the seafloor was a turning point in the plate tectonic theory because it provided direction and confirmation that the entire seafloor is moving. The oldest rocks on the earth are found in the cratons. The Sea of Japan, which lies between Japanese island arc and the Asian mainland, is a good example of that arc basin. The Gutenberg discontinuity marks the boundary between the core and the mantle. The Earth's crust is much less radioactive than the continental crust because the oceanic crust is thinner, so heat from deeper parts of the Earth passes through it more easily. The Earth's crust is much less radioactive than the continental crust. Which one of the following is common along Pacific continental margins? Thick accumulation of sediments. The theory that the first continents formed before plate tectonic activity began on the Earth suggests that the first continents were very much like stratovolcanoes. Ophiolite complexes that are located high in the Himalayan mountain were probably one piece of the oceanic crust. According to Wegener, today's continents were once a part of a single supercontinent called Pangaea. The modified Mercalli scale is based on the type and extent of earthquake generated damage. The earthquake on any fault is most likely to occur in the locked segment between previously active places on the fault. The region is called Slicken. The region is called seismic gap. The standard procedure for locating the epicenter of a distant earthquake requires measurement from seismographs in at least three separate phases. Heat from within the earth is transported through the crust by the process of convection. What part of the earth is immediately beneath the lower lithosphere? What kind of motion takes place on strike slip fault? Left lateral. A major difference between P waves and S waves is that P waves are faster than S waves. Alfred Wegener used each of the following as evidence for continental drift, except a rift in the middle of the mid-oceanic ridge system. A tsunami is a gigantic wave produced by undersea earthquakes. A tsunami, the word itself means huge wave. A natural levee is produced when a stream overflows its bank and drops sediments. Which one of the following shows that a stream system had been rejuvenated? Paired stream terraces. The depth of a glacial valley depends on how thick the glacier was. What does the term wave base mean? The water depth below which waves do not stir the ocean. Waves are refracted when they interact with the sea floor. Arches and sea stacks are most common along coasts. Such coasts are called tectonically sorry arches and sea stacks are most common along coasts. Such coasts are sea stacks. Such coasts are all tectonically active coasts. The center of sand dunes become anchored by both ends are stretched out by the wind to form a crescent-shaped feature called Barkan dune. Many of the world's largest deserts exist because large, persistent, high pressure systems dominate the weather at subtropical latitudes. Coal deposits are likely to be found in places that were once deltas. The segment of a stream valley that is most likely to have a V-shaped cross section is located near the stream's headwaters. The equilibrium line in a glacier marks the boundary between appellation zone and accumulation zone. The equation called Darcy's law is used to calculate the discharge through an aquifer. The over 97% of the water is in the world is in the oceans. Most of this rest is in the glaciers. The ore deposits known as banded iron formations formed 2 to 3 billion years ago. Proterozoic. Archean Proterozoic. Occurrence of erratic shows that glacier once passed through the region. Which one of the following is the best place for the occurrence of gold? A point bar. Acha, water drawn from a well in an artesian aquifer system comes from confined aquifer. During the summer in polar regions, an active layer of mud or water saturated soil may flow very slowly over deeper permafrost. This process is known as solifluction. If you follow a stream from its headwater towards its mouth, you find that each of the following characteristics generally increases except for gradient. A ventifact forms as the result of sand blasting with wind-blown sand. Polar glaciers and temperate glaciers are distinguished on the basis of how cold the ice is. Where would one expect to find a Yazoo type of river? On a wide floodplain. In addition to the major water table in an area, there may also be second water table close to the Earth's surface. This water table is called burst water table. Which of the following glacial features is not formed directly by a glacier itself? An escarp. Glaciofluvial. Sark is a steep walled bowl-like hollow at the head of the glacial valley. Sand coats in the swash and backwash pattern of longshore drift moves in a zigzag path down the shore. The Milankovitch theory suggests the periods of glaciation are caused by variations in the intensity and positions of deep ocean currents. Historical records represents less than 0.001% of geological time. How old are the oldest rocks on the earth? 4 billion years old. What is the youngest rock formation exposed in the Grand Canyon? Kaibab limestone. Approximately how fast do plates spread apart? 1 to 10 centimeter per year. The line formed by the intersection of an inclined sedimentary layer and a horizontal plane is called strike. The dip of a unit represents the angle at which bed inclines from the horizontal. The San Andreas fault is a strike slip fault, actually a dextral strike slip fault. Which of the following geological features is formed in a region affected by tensional tectonic forces? Rift Valley. Which of the following statement is false? Mass movements require wind or running water. So mass movements occur when the force of gravity exceeds the strength of the slope materials. Yes. Mass movements can be triggered by earthquakes and floods. Yes. Mass movements can move down a slope very slowly. Yes. Creep. Mass movements require wind or running water. Not necessarily. What is the dominant force that causes mass movement? Gravity. A paper clip can float on the surface of a liquid because the molecules of the surface of the liquid have an inward attraction. Which of the following types of mass movement a person cannot outrun? Debris avalanche. Mass movement would least likely occur in which of the following settings? Intraplate settings. The most abundant element in the Earth's crust is oxygen. The mass of an atom is concentrated in the nucleus. S waves are not transmitted through the outer core. The Earth's magnetic field is believed to be generated in this region, core. The Earth's magnetic field is generated in the core. Okay, in the core. The average composition of the continental crust most closely approximates that of the granite. The forces and processes that can be observed shaping over present day landscape have also operated in the geologic past. This refers to uniformitarianism. At a divergence plate boundary, new seafloor crust is created. Ultimate source of energy of most life on the earth is the sun. Sediments that contain a mixture of different sized particles are said to be poorly sorted sediments, which processes increases the density of seawater, increasing the salinity, which is the most important process of heat transfer from the Earth's surface to the atmosphere radiation. Done. So, engineering geology. Maximum maximum force expressed per unit area which is a stone which a stone can withstand is called both crushing strength and compressive strength. When the compressive strength is tested by a method without providing a lateral support system termed as uniaxial compressive system strength. Okay. Marbles have uniaxial compressive strength in the range of 700 to 1000 kg per centimeter square. The capacity of stones to withstand bending loads is called transverse strength. Absorption value of a stone can be determined using formulae. Absorption value of stone, this is absorption value S minus W divided by W into 100. Granites are the most commonly used building stones of all igneous rocks because of which of the following properties: high crushing strength, low absorption value, interlocking textures. Impact toughness of the rock can be calculated by using the relationship impact toughness is equal to P divided by L into A. Which one of the following dams is better suited for narrow valleys with strong and uniformly sloping walls, arch dams? The Brazilian test is used to determine shear strength. Which of the following has the highest compressive strength? That is quartzite. Which of the following dams can be constructed even on weak foundations? Embankment dams. Which of the following materials has the least stiffness? Quartz. The Mont Blanc Highway tunnel links France and Italy. The method, which involves the injection of suitable material into the broken and fractured rocks, is called grouting. The Bhakra Nangal, the Bhakra Dam, is built on the river Sutlej. The foundation rocks of Hirakud Dam are thick bedded sandstones. Which of the following is an earthen dam? A and C. Under which of the following conditions tunnel requires little lining when the center line of the tunnel is at right angles to the strike? The line clay ratio in cement is approximately 4 is to 1. To impart pink color to the glass, which material is used? Selenium. Selenium gives a pink color to the glass. Which of the following rock types has highest compressive strength? Granite. The sedimentary rocks have the greatest load-bearing capacity and forces act perpendicular to bedding planes. Lithology being the same, which of the following geological settings will be most favorable for the dam site? Beds with the of the limb dips gently in the upstream direction. At the dam site, the weight of the dam acts vertically downwards. There also exists a great lateral thrust due to reservoir water. The resultant force of these two will always be included in the downstream direction. Thus, the beds will have a gentle upstream dip, will be perpendicular to the resultant force, and hence can offer the best resistance to withstand the stresses acting in the area. Okay. The Jawahar Tunnel is in Jammu and Kashmir. Which of the following conditions is or are most safe for road cutting along the sedimentary strata? Cutting parallel to dip. The Jawahar Tunnel passes through limestone, agglomeratic slates, Banjal lavas. Okay. When the movement of the landmass is confined to a definite shearing plane or zone, it is called landslide. Which of the following is not at both A and B? landslide. Which of the following is not a type of earth flow? Debris, slides, and slump. A rapid flow, deep solifluction, all are earth flow. If any loose material is piled up, it has a natural slope of 35 degrees. Which of the following factors generally has most important role responsible for landslide occurrence effect of flow? When blocks of rocks of varying sizes suddenly crashing downwards from cliffs along the steep slopes, it is called rock falls. Which of the following cases create the conditions of instability? Weak plains, most unstable. Weak plains, this is not unstable. This is kindly unstable. This is also kindly unstable. Okay, the gravity profile of which of the following cases will show the negative gravity anomaly? Subsurface salt dome enclosed by relatively denser formation, a lighter central region of a syncline fold showing by relatively heavier beds outwards. Which of the following geological factors does not influence the electrical resistivity of the soil? Does not increase electrical resistivity of the rock or soil. So rock type, compactness, moisture content, texture, none of them affect the electrical resistivity. Arrange the following minerals in increasing order of their electrical resistivity: hematite, calcite, feldspar, and quartz. If the mineral composition of a rock is same, then finer grained rocks show a higher electrical resistivity compared to their coarse grained equivalent. Which of the following geological factors does not influence the seismic wave velocities, texture of the rocks? Arrange the following in decreasing order according to their seismic wave velocities: shale, sandstone, moist clay, and soil. The seismic wave velocity in granite is 4 to 6 km per second. Photographs are time distance curves in the seismic studies of the subsurface geology. The reflection shooting method of seismic exploration of subsurface geological structures is used for the depth of 1000 meter. Which of the following methods of seismic exploration is used to study subsurface geological structures such as fractured zones in the bed rocks, thickness of loose overburden, that is depth to the bedrock, etc. Refraction shooting. The formulae for determining the depth of bedrock Z using intercept T1 is the seismic exploration vector is that is Z is equal to T1 by 2 over V2 V1 minus V1 divided by V2 by V21 plus V2 plus V1. So this is T1 by 2 V2 V1 divided by root over V2 square minus V1 square. I think this is wrong. This is the wrong. Okay, this is wrong. This is the correct answer. V2 minus V1 divided by V2 plus V1. In the time distance curve, the seismic wave velocity in the top layer is 2000 meters per second, and that in the bottom layer is 4000 meters per second, and the critical distance is 400 meters. Calculate the depth of bedrock occurrence, that is the thickness of the top layer, using the critical distance formula, that is 115.4 meters. Which of the following types of method of refraction shooting is or are used for reconnaissance investigation of the area from the civil engineering point of both A and B, that is span shooting and arc profiling? In which of the following civil engineering projects of India the refraction methods of seismic exploration was used to investigate the bedrock? BR Satellite Link Project, Kopili Hydel Project, Punjab Plains Project. Which one of the following engineering properties is one of the important property to be tested for rocks used as a site of construction for foundation purposes? Uniaxial compressive strength. Which of the following engineering properties required for rocks and used as a site of construction for foundation purposes is tested in the field? Jack test. A rock having uniaxial compressive strength 560 to 11 20 kg per centimeter square is classified as medium strength class C. Which of the following dams was or were failed in adverse geological conditions of the site? Which of the following dams was or were failed due to adverse geological conditions? So it's all of the above. Which of the following dams was or were failed due to adverse geological conditions at the site? St. Francis Dam of California, Austin Dam of Colorado River in Texas, Austin Dam in Pennsylvania, Lafayette Dam in California. The drilling of angle holes oriented perpendicular to the direction of the river flow in the channel section of a dam site is generally done with the primary intention of exploring to determine if near vertical faults trend parallel to the channel. Which of the following geophysical methods is most likely to be successful in locating shallowly buried 55-gallon steel barrels in dry sand? Ground penetrating radar. Structural geology. Which of the following pressure is all-sided pressure acts upon a rock due to mass of the superincumbent material? Lithostatic pressure, confining pressure, hydrostatic pressure. When two forces act in an opposite directions in the same plane but not along the same line, it is called couple. Hooke's law is applicable below the elastic limit. Ductile substances have very large interval between elastic limit and rupture. The stress which any material is able to withstand regardless of time under given physical conditions without rupturing or deforming continuously is known as fundamental strength. Increase in confining pressure increases the elastic limit and ultimate strength of the rock. Which of the following attitudes of the strata indicates vertical strata? Okay, this is a vertical strata. Joints are formed as a consequence of tensional stress. The dip of a stratum is the angle between the bedding plane and the horizontal plane. True dip measured in a vertical plane that strikes at right angle to the strike of the bedding. The amount of dip is maximum in a direction at 90-degree angles to the strike of the bedding plane. The true dip direction of a bed is 9 ends north 15-degree west. The strike direction of that will 75-degree east. The line of intersection of the axial plane with the bedding plane of the fold is called both strike of the fold and axis of the fold. The axial planes are always any of the above: vertical, inclined, and horizontal. Which of the following terms used for ridges of a fold has or have become obsolete now? Both C and D, legs and shanks. If the axial plane of a fold is inclined and both the limbs dip in the same direction, usually at different angles, it is termed as overturned fold. The strata that dip in one direction at uniform angle, the fold is called inclined. The folds in which the deformation has been sufficiently intense to cause flowage of more mobile beds so that the beds get thinner at the limbs and thicker at the crests and troughs are called tight folds. The fold in which the strata are thinnest on the crest and thickest on the trough of the anticline and syncline respectively and are developed during the sedimentation process are called supratenuous folds. The time required for deformation by viscous flow to become more than 1,000 times the elastic deformation is known as reality. Choose the correct sequence of formation of budins in the competent layer of the rock having competence difference. Pinch and swell structure, necking rupture, budins. Pinch and swell structure, necking rupture, budins. Only pinch and swell structures are developed without separation of units if the competence difference is very slightly marked. Which of the following is the surface force? Stress. The shearing stress is denoted by tau. Okay, shear stress is tau. Which of the following is not a criterion for homogeneous strain of a distorted body? All the angles remain same after deformation. If the fold closes downward, it is known as synform. Attitude of beds is defined by its A3. So axis and dip is complement of the dip. Throw is total vertical displacement in a fault. C2 heave is to horizontal displacement in the fault. Slip is not mentioned. The polished, striated, and roofed surface resulted from friction along the fault plane are called slick and sides. If the dip of a fault plane is 55 degree, then the height will be 90 degree minus 55 degree. Which of the following fault rocks is created by frictional melting, not by grinding and fracturing? Pseudo-tachylite. Match the following fault rocks with the size of crystal or clasts. So Brexia is 1 millimeter to 0.5 meter. Then we have gauge, which is less than 0.1 millimeter. Cataclysite is 0.1 millimeter to 10 millimeter, and pseudotachylite is less than 1 micrometer. Which of the following is a tectonic outlier? Clipping. A tectonic outlier means outside outlier. Outlier is outside old, inside young. The increase of confining pressure increase the strength and ductility of the rock under compression. Elevated hydrostatic pore fluid pressure conditions decreases the effects of confining pressure on strength and ductility of the rock. Effective stress in a rock under deformation is equal to confining pressure minus pore fluid pressure. If the effective stress is high, a given rock will be relatively strong and ductile. A rock behaves as an elastic solid below its yield strength. Arrange the following rocks according to their strength, measured at room temperature and low confining pressure: quartzite, granite, basalt, schist, marble. The resistance that elastic solids offer to change in their volume is known as bulk modulus. Poisson's ratio describes the ratio of lateral strain to longitudinal strain. Mural joints are generally developed in granites. In the dip-slip faults, the rake of the net slip is 90 degree. The Coulomb's law of failure is expressed by equation sigma c is equal to sigma 0 plus tan pi sigma n. Coulomb's law of failure is based on dynamic or mechanical model, which is expressed as an equation that describes the height and slope of the linear envelope of failure for rocks in compression. So sigma c is critical shear stress required for faulting. Sigma 0 is cohesive strength. Tan pi is the coefficient of internal friction. Sigma n is the normal stress. The angle between fault surface and the direction of the greatest principal stress, sigma 1, for most of the fault is about 30 degree. The angle of internal friction phi determines theta, the angle between the fracture surface and the direction of the greatest principal stress, sigma 1, which is calculated as phi is equal to 90 degree minus 2 theta. 2 theta is equal to 90 degree minus phi. Theta is equal to 90 degree minus phi by 2. Theta is equal to 90 degree minus 30 degree by 2, that is 60 degree by 2, 30 degree. Since most rocks in nature, angle of internal friction phi is about 30 degree. We will continue with the next part.